Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to work on some visualizations real fast of this NRC data using Ryan Baker's MOOC. And if you remember from before, these are basically forum posts by students within the MOOC. And those students were either categorized as completing the MOOC or not completing the MOOC. So in our last video, we created a tibble called Final NRC Forum Tib. And just in case you want to see what that looks like, I have used a tidyverse function called write.csv, and you can basically take that and write it into this CSV file name. It'll pop up wherever your folder is. But for now, let's look at a relatively complicated visualization here. This is just going to give us the bar plot below. But we're going to create a bar plot for NRC. We're going to take that final NRC forum tib. And what we're going to do is we're going to select from that everything from anger norm to completion string. We need to pivot that longer, except we don't need to pivot completion string longer. So this means ignore completion string, but pivot everything else. And we're going to change the names to sentiment types, and we're going to change the values to count. And then we're going to group by completion string and sentiment type. This will give us columns for completion string and sentiment types. And then we're going to summarize. Basically, we want to get the mean sentiment for completion string and sentiment type. And we're just going to use basically the mean score of count to do that. And that's going to give us the data frame that we need to do our ggplot visualization. So then we're going to call in ggplot, and for our aesthetics, we're going to have our x-axis be the sentiment type, our y-axis is going to be the mean sentiment, and we're going to fill in the colors with completion string, and we're going to do completion string coloring as well. We're going to do a bar chart, and we're going to use identity and position. Identity allows us to do statistics, and position is going to be dodge, and that's going to place bars side by side. Our X lab is going to be completion type, and our Y lab is going to mean sentiment, and the title is going to be bar plot for sentiment by student type. And then we're going to flip the coordinates over so that it is not vertical, but horizontal. And we're going to get a bar plot that looks like this. And the first thing you'll notice, which is quite interesting, is that folks that did not complete the MOOC had stronger sentiment values overall. So in every single variable, every one of them, positive and negative, those students that did not complete the MOOC had more sentiment, which is interesting. Leave that up to interpretation for those who want to do more qualitative analysis of the data or better understand the MOOC data itself. So let's also run a quick statistics on this, and we're going to just do a t-test to examine differences between those that completed and those that did not complete. So we're going to call in a library called rstatics, and this will add significance to our t-value. And I think we've called this in at a previous module. So as always, we have to get together a data frame. So we're going to take our final NRC forum tib, and we're going to create a new data frame called t-test NRC. Well, we're going to create a new variable called t-test NRC. There will be a data frame within that. We're only going to select, again, anger norm through completion string. We're going to pivot these longer again. But again, we don't need to pivot completion string longer. So we're going to change the names to sentiment and the values from count. And then we're going to group by sentiment. And then we're going to run a t-test, and that t-test is just going to be count by completion string. And then we're going to add this significance, and this is going to give us our significance values. And then we're going to print that out. And what you're going to see is that for the most part, almost everything is non-significant. We do have a significant difference in sadness, basically meaning those that did not complete had greater amount of sadness. And we have some approaching significance here. If we had a larger sample size, it would probably be significant. Not saying it's meaningful, but it would be significant. So we approach significance on disgust, and we approach significance also on positive, right? So some conflicting statements there. But again, as we saw before, in general, students who did not complete the MOOC were expressing themselves with words related to emotion and sentiment much more than those who were completing the MOOC. It's also good to get descriptive statistics as well. And so we're going to have a new variable called NRC descriptive. We're going to take our final NRC form table. We're going to select anger through completion string. We're going to group by that completion string. And then we're going to use this function called summarize at. And we're basically going to select the variables anger norm through trust norm. And then the functions that we want are going to be the mean and the standard deviation. And we're just going to ignore NAs, which there shouldn't be any NAs in here anyway. And when you run that, you're going to get a big long table that basically will give you the mean and the standard deviation for those who completed and incompleted by the sentiment types. So interestingly, we see that incompletes were more positive and incompletes were more negative, or as I have here, sadder. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how you can visualize data and how you can run some simple statistics on that data. We're going to look on doing something very similar with AFEN data in the next video.